Okay, so here's some exercises out of the book on homework on the section 5.2 exercises, just like the ones you asked about in open math. And now, the one thing, if you haven't done this yet, I would certainly go check out example number 8 on page 337. They walk you through it. And then the try number 4 is the same kind of question, and you get the answers in the back of the book that you can go check out on that. So how about some ones that some other kind of questions? So I see radian measure. I see the 26 over pi over 9 is more than 2 pi. Remember, one revolution is 360 degrees. It's also 2 pi radians. And they talk about that in the example 8, how really one revolution is just one circumference with a radius of 1 on the unit circle. So 2 pi r is the circumference, so 2 pi times 1 is one circumference, or one revolution, or 2 pi radians, right? So when I'm asked this kind of question, I'm working with something over 9, so I'm going to think to myself, well, let's see. 2 pi over 1 is the same thing as 18 pi over 9. So then I'm asking myself, let's see, I want to go 1 pi. I know it's one revolution, so I'm going to subtract 18 from 26, and I think I get 6. No, that's not true. I get 8. I get 8 pi over 9, and that's less than 2 pi. So that's the angle between 0 and 2 pi. It's coterminal to that, okay? I'm just taking off revolutions until I get back to something that's less than 1 revolution. How about 17 pi over 3? Well, let's see. I'm not going to say right now, but what do I have to subtract from that? Because that's certainly more than 2 pi. So we know we're going to subtract off some revolutions. So I want you to stop the video and try to figure it out, or just continue listening. So I know I want to take away 1 revolution, or maybe I got to take off more than 1 revolution. But I know that if 2 pi over 1 is the same thing as 6 pi, 6 pi over 3. And then if I take off 6 pi, so I've got 1, here, I'll draw this down here. So I've got 1 revolution, that's minus 6 pi, so that's 11 pi over 3. Looks like it's another whole revolution. So I'm going to go around again. And I'll subtract off another 6 pi over 3. And let's see, 11 minus 6 is 5, I think. Now 5 pi over 3 is less than 6 pi over 3, so that's the angle between 0 and 2 pi. That's coterminal to 17 pi over 3. Okay? So how about negative angles of rotation? Well, negative angles of rotation start at the positive x-axis and go this way. And so if I go negative, that's negative pi over 2, negative 90 degrees. That's negative pi, or negative 2 pi over 2. So here's negative 3 pi over 2. So that angle is negative 3 pi over 2. And we want to go back the other way between 0 and 2 pi. So that's where we meet it. And that just happens to be 1 pi over 2. Now, for the messy number, we'll just do 2 pi minus 3 pi over 2. And that way we get 4 pi over 2. 4 pi minus 3 pi over 2 is pi. Okay, and how about this one? Negative 7 pi over 6. Let's see, let's move this down. Whoops, come on. Can I move it down? Move the whole thing. Okay, so negative 7 pi over 6. Well, that's going to go here. Let's go red. So negative 7 pi over 6 is just a little bit more. So that's pi. That's negative pi. And since we're dealing with sixes, isn't negative pi the same as negative 6 pi over 6? So that means we're going 1/6 more. So that reference angle, well, do we need to do it with reference angles? Here, we could just do this. We could just say, what's 2 pi minus 7 pi over 6? That would become 12 pi over 6 minus 7 pi over 6 is going to be 5 pi over 6. And if you see what that is, if this is a pi over 6 reference angle, this has to be 5 pi over 6, because pi. If it's in quadrant 2 here, we know if we take pi minus theta, that's equal to the reference angle. Okay? Now, one other thing, since I'm making this video, I might as well do the next bit. What if I ask this? What if I ask this of you? Here, let me add a one. What if I tell you to find an angle between 0 and 2 pi that's a coterminal to 7 radians? Well, I know, see, there's no pi. This is not in terms of pi, so this is, what this is asking me is, okay, so where does 7 radians fall on the unit circle? Well, 2 pi radians is the same thing as 6.28 with a bunch more decimal places. That tells me 7 radians, it'll be a little bit beyond that. So all you gotta do is do 7 minus 6.28, and yes, you grab a calculator. I'm being lazy and I don't have one right here. 9, so what's that? 2 and 7, and so 0.72 is coterminal to 7 radians. Okay, so it doesn't have to have a pi value in it in order to still be able to find the coterminal angle. Okay. All right, hope this helps answer your question.